Hey Aquapals, Jeremy right here. What I'm doing today is getting a close look at a natural planted tank. It's soil under pool filter sand, under a bit of leaf litter, and locally captured ecology. You do this from private land, or if you happen to be able to gain permission to do this from public lands in your area, I guess you can do that, but generally that's not legal for the most part. However, there's some really interesting stuff if we just take a bit to look in the small spaces. Notice center screen. A couple little things that you just wouldn't see unless you look closely, but they're there. I don't know, little isopods or something. Look over a bit, see what we might find in this area. The last time I looked in this hole, I saw a worm. It's kind of interesting. A worm or a small sea monster, not sure which. A little bit of a dead log with some moss around it. The last time I looked over here, there were multiple worms kind of sticking out. Maybe they got scared by these guys. That's just, to me, that's fascinating. Little seed shrimp or daphnia and little things buzzing around. Tiny plants growing up out of the moss. Worm just now beginning to poke, two worms beginning to poke out here. Like, this is fascinating. So the last time I had a local ecology tank, an Arkansas biotope, when I would bring my friends in here, and this is going back like 2 years now, I would bring my friends into my house. Some people were like aquarium nerds, some weren't. They would gravitate over to my Arkansas biotope tank. What is that little thing? Another worm, maybe? Uh-oh. No. It's one of those things. Snail eggs on the glass. So the last time I had a tank like this, people would come into my home and just sit and stare into this biotope and find all kinds of stuff. The sorts of things that you just don't find when you look into a traditional aquarium. Even if it's a relatively biodiverse aquarium, you don't get to see this kind of stuff unless you actually go out into nature and scoop up some mud, put it in your tank, scoop up some leaf litter from the bottom of a waterway. See, this is what leaf litter is. See these actual leaves that have fallen down, and see not the fish in the aquarium behind this. I need to put up a divider background, but when you actually get stuff from the bottom of a living waterway from nature, you get, I'm going to venture to say, thousands of species of biology. Not all of them are macrobiology or invertebrates or complex life. Some of them are just really simple fungi, bacteria, archaea even. Monera protista, but also plants and animals. So these are probably pond snail eggs on the face of the glass here. But the tiny animals are pretty interesting. I was actually talking about stuff smaller than that, but yeah, center screen, you can see a little thing. And I'm talking about stuff like that size. See that? Like, what is it? A little snail? I don't know. It's a little bitty. If you start looking at the little bitty stuff for a while, you start really seeing things. Some of them very unexpected. And because this is such a rich experience, I will probably go out and collect some more leaf litter at some point relatively soon. There's kind of two snails that might even be different species. I think they are different species that are both kind of in frame, sort of center screen. And there's a worm moving around center screen also. See that? Like, everything in here has been in here for weeks now, like 2 weeks. So it's not under threat of dying off. There's one thing I need to remove. There's an Eponegeta plant. I'm just zoom out to show that. This plant sprang up from, and this is only like day 8 of this plant. Like 8 days ago, I couldn't see it. Now it has grown to the top of this 37-gallon tank. And we're looking in from the back side right now, so sorry for the reflection, but I'm just kind of showing you. We're looking in sort of from the back side, so there's a hang on back on the side that we're looking at, and that's just how it is, because the other side of this aquarium has aquariums, and that is what it is. So we're going to be looking back again down to the small stuff and just see what else there is to be seen. Surprise plants, surprise animals. And that is what is to be expected when one begins a natural aquarium. Really cool local ecology all over the place. And when I said like thousands of species of biology, I'm pretty sure I put my money where my mouth is on that, because the amount of stuff that you can't see is far, far, far more than the amount of stuff that you can see. And it's because of the scale, the size of these things. Now, if I were to enrich in this water, like if I were to maybe boil some pasta, pour the pasta water off, let that go for a little while, add some water from outside, and start growing some like paramecia, zooplankton, and then put those in here, which I'll probably do just to add to some of the. Now notice, like, it doesn't matter what scale we look at each scale we're going to see different things. And that's just awesome. If I were to actually give these guys some micro food, we would see even more. And conversely, if we were to put fish in this tank, all of this really interesting stuff would go away rather quickly. And that's been my experience in the past. If you do take a natural planted aquarium like this with microinvertebrates, I guess we're not going to get this in focus yet. Whatever. If we actually were to take, really? Fine. If we were to put fish in here, they would mow through these little bitty things rather quickly. I'm going to say within a day, there would not be any more microinvertebrates in here. Snails might survive depending on what type of fish we put in here. But fish are like super predators when it comes to these small things. And the small things just wouldn't survive. And in truth, they are just as interesting as fish. And honestly, the types of people I'm talking about who were interested in this sort of thing when I did it years past were like young ladies who aren't interested in aquariums, would just come and stare into them and watch these little invertebrates crawl around, swim around, wiggle around for like 30 minutes or an hour and be totally content with that. And they didn't have any interest in looking at the beautiful like dark gray angelfish or my award-winning guppies or the awesome like metallic bronze green Corydoras. Like, they didn't care about that stuff. They wanted to look at these little wigglies. And I took note of that. And it's very interesting. So the way you do this, the way you can do it even better than this, I just got like 2 handfuls of leaf litter and threw it into a small plastic container. I didn't really try to do much more. I just grabbed a glob of leaf litter and stuck it in a plastic container and brought it home and stuck it in the aquarium. That's all. With everything alive in it. You don't have to worry about disease or anything from outside ecology invading your aquarium. It's going to actually have the opposite effect. When you add many species of microbiology and even small things, what they're going to do is, first off, they'll be competing to establish equilibrium. But they're also going to be enough different species of tiny stuff that they're competing against each other. And it's sort of like one example I've used before is like crabs trying to climb out of a bucket or climb to the top of a mound, and then other crabs are around it trying to pull the one. Any of them that get very high, they're getting pulled back down by all the others. So nobody really wins or succeeds. There are others pulling any biology that starts to really thrive, just becomes food for the other biology. And nothing has like a breakaway dominant outbreak type situation. And that's how it operates in nature. That's why you don't like look out into a lake and see all the fish with diseases, but you can look in a pet shop and all the fish have diseases. It's because of that lack of biology, the lack of biodiversity. Now, I'm not trying to slam my friends who have local fish stores or anything, but it's very true. that lack of diversity is something that harms specimen tanks. So get out there, put some real soil down first. That's where a lot of the biodiversity, the biofiltration, and the action is happening, is down in the substrate, in the soil. Include some organic matter, mix it up, give it proper nutrients, proper fertilizer, some bone meal, some Epsom salts, maybe even some slow release fertilizer pellets. There's a lot that you can add in there. Some people like to put peat moss in, some people like to put in organic compost. I think that's a great idea. Organic compost will actually allow carbon dioxide to form in the substrate and then come into the water column. So your water will be actually rather saturated with CO2 and then grow the heck out of some plants. So this is actually higher tech than injecting CO2 into your tank. And it works better long term. And it's easy mode. Why wouldn't you want easy mode? Easy mode is awesome. Easy mode is awesome. So without further ado, I'm going to give this a cut, move along, and we'll just let this tank jam along. I probably need to clean some of the surface glass here before I record again. But the inside of the glass, all the stuff that's here, that's great. That's biology. Let it jam. Don't let it keep doing its thing. But I did want to show a bit of the small stuff. So thanks for joining me as I did this, and if you like this sort of thing, give me a like, subscribe, comment, and hopefully I'll catch you in the comments section.